The United States' move to halt negotiations with the Taliban is the right way to move forward and force the other side to end its display of violence in Afghanistan, according to an expert from a program on the China Global Television Network on Sunday. A win-win approach is the more noble approach to world economic development trends when compared to a zero-sum game, according to a South African expert. Egyptian and Chinese team on Sunday announced the start of the implementation phase of the China-funded MisrSat-2 satellite project. That's all for our top stories today. Stay tuned for more details in this newscast. Since Saturday evening, Tunisia has been organizing 3 major televised debates to allow citizens to choose between 26 presidential candidates, a rare event in the Arab world. Speakers included Islamist Abdel Fattah al-Mourou, Tunisia's first post-revolutionary president Monsef Mazouki, anti-Islamist lawyer Abi Moussi, and human rights activist Mohamed Abou. Entitled The Road to Carthage, Tunisia Makes Its Choice, the program presented by its promoters as a turning point in Tunisian political life is broadcast on 11 television channels and some 20 radio stations.
والله حاجة تفرح على الآخر، على الأقل واحد يحس روحه اللي بالحق عملنا حاجة في الديمقراطية، احنا بالحق فما حرية تعبير، فما عندك الحق باش تختار، وبالحق راك باش تختار وباش تقرا وباش تسمع عباد باش تحكي وباش تسألهم وباش كمسي باش تحطهم في امتحان، سي ان اكزامان.
اي بالمناظرة هذه زدت قويت رايي اللي اخترته ديجا، وعملت راي معناها إليمينيت عباد سورتو خاطر سألوا في مواضيع مهمة كالأمن والاقتصاد والعلاقات الخارجية وكل شيء. فما عباد فاهمة دو كوا يساجي وفاهمة شنو دور الرئيس، وفما عباد ما عرفتش تجاوب ولا ماهيش متمكنة.
The stage set up in the premises of the public channel Wataniya is organized in the form of a semicircle around which the places of the candidates have been drawn at random in a lottery. In addition to the organizational and technical aspects, the organizers, who have been working for weeks on this operation, have insisted on the scarcity of the operation. Monday evening, the same format will gather 8 remaining candidates. Kamran Bokhari, director of the Center for Global Policy, made these comments at U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo on Sunday, said that negotiations with Taliban leadership, which has been going on for months, are at an end.
I think it's about time that we had this response, because the United States has been unfortunately negotiating with the Taliban from a position of relative weakness. We see the Taliban on the negotiating table while their commanders and their operatives are engaged in terrorist attacks across the country. So there had to be this response, and I'm surprised that the United States has not engaged in counterstrikes. So I think that this is the right way to move forward, is to sort of pull away from the table and then, force the other side to, end the violence and make some serious concessions.
U.S. President Donald Trump called off the originally scheduled meeting with the Taliban outfit in the U.S. in the wake of a suicide car bombing claimed by the armed groups on Thursday in Kabul, which left 12 people dead, including 1 American soldier and 42 Afghan civilians injured. Bokhari said he feels very pessimistic about the results of the peace talks, especially since he believes that the U.S. is negotiating from a point of weakness. Bokhari said he feels very pessimistic about the results of the peace talks, especially since he believes that the U.S. is negotiating from a point of weakness.
The United States cannot negotiate from a position of relative weakness, which is the case right now. The United States needs to have more leverage. As for what the Taliban representatives say, that's public relations. That's rhetoric that is geared towards perception shaping. And I think we should pay little attention to what they're saying and focus more on what they're doing. In the negotiations, they're saying, we want peace. But where is the evidence that they are going to disassociate from transnational terrorist entities like Al-Qaeda and others? And so we need to see that kind of evidence. Frankly, I'm very pessimistic that the Taliban can actually disassociate themselves from international terrorism because that is the basis for any agreement. And if that's not being met, then negotiations aren't going in the right direction.
Bokhari said that for the peace talks to resume, the Taliban should first give some sort of guarantee to halt the violence that is shaking their country.
I think what has happened is now that the conversation is no longer official, public, direct. I think the conversation has slid back into the back channels where the behind-the-scenes conversations are taking place between the United States and Taliban representatives. And for the public and official talks to resume, there has to be an understanding that they need to get past this deadlock. The deadlock is that the Taliban are engaged in violence, and they need to back down on that. B, which is more important, is that they need to provide some commitments and verifiable commitments that they will honor their end of the bargain. They want U.S. troops to leave. Well, they need to show that they can deliver on their part.
Martin Davis, Managing Director of the Emerging Markets in Africa at Deloitte, made the remarks when attending the World Economic Forum in Africa, which concluded in Cape Town on Friday. Davis stated his belief that trade between countries should be based on striving for mutual benefit rather than seeking for gain at expenses of others.
It's not wise for any government to pursue a zero-sum approach to foreign commercial policy and engagement with foreign powers. Win-win has been used by the PRC government for a very long time, particularly in the context of even China-Africa relations. Win-win. I think it's a noble gesture, albeit quite a simplistic sort of phrase. Ultimately, countries should pursue national interest, but in a responsible fashion that is not disruptive and damaging to others.
Stressing the importance of obeying global trades and rules, Davis also pointed out that China has been a strong promoter of free trade since it joined the World Trade Organization in 2001. However, he warned that the protectionist measure adopted by the US government actually sets up barrier trades for the country itself, which could eventually make the US a victim of its own deeds.
During the kickoff meeting, which was held at the Egyptian Space City near Egypt's new administrative capital, both sides signed the documents on launching the project that is funded by the Chinese government. Egypt and China signing in January an agreement on a $72 million Chinese grant for Egypt MISSAT-2 satellite, which is a small, high-resolution remote sensing satellite. Egypt sees the project as another major cooperation between the two countries in the field of space after signing an agreement to build the Egyptian Satellite Assembly, Integration and Test Center, which is expected to be fully established this year. Ahmed Al-Rafi, head of the MISSAT-2 satellite project, said that the satellite will be developed through cooperative and joint work between Chinese and Egyptian teams who work in parallel. Nothing that there will be Chinese guidance throughout the project phases. The satellite is scheduled to be launched by China and delivered into orbit in 36 months. It will be used in many fields in Egypt, including marine resources survey, urban planning, and meteorological disaster relief.
Serena Williams lost Saturday in the US Open final to young Canadian prodigy Bianca Andreescu and still hasn't won the 24th Grand Slam title she's been dreaming of since her return from motherhood in March 2018. Serena Williams seems to be paralyzed by the stake of this major title that would allow her to match the record of Margaret Court. It must be said that in New York, the pressure on her shoulders is enormous. More than 20,000 people, including director Spike Lee, dressed in purple like his champion, or Meghan Markle, wife of Prince Harry, sitting in the player's box with her mother, her sister Venus, waiting for her to achieve this historic achievement.
The United States' move to halt negotiations with the Taliban is the right way to move forward and force the other side to end its display of violence in Afghanistan, according to an expert from a program on the China Global Television Network on Sunday. A win-win approach is the more noble approach to world economic development trends when compared to a zero-sum game according to a South African expert. Egyptian and Chinese team on Sunday announced the start of the implementation phase of the China-funded MISRSAT-2 satellite project. That's the end of our newscast of the day, but keep watching Gabon 24 for further news.